No shiny synthwave intro today. You're all here for the same reason. You want that sparkly UFO and you want it quick. And totally not an easy exploit for attention and praise. If you ignore my fast-paced talking in this video's excessive length, you would realize that it's actually piss easy. Don't let videos like these make you think that this task is more difficult than it is. Like Vortrox's video where he's suspiciously boastful about how he grooms his levels for marketability. Congratulations on having the world's most humble flex, by the way. The strategies that you're about to learn are used by real large creators and CP grinders to get feature levels fast. Many people get a feature level through hard grind the editor, or alternatively they exploit their spineless friends. It takes an average solo person about a year of non-stop creating improvements to have the prestige of a feature level, but this strategy doesn't take a year, a month, not even a week. This is the DANK method. Many, if not the vast majority of the biggest creators got to where they are by abusing their connections and mooching off others to get where they are. No, I'm not kidding. Don't have any connections? Simple. Make a 5-star layout of middling, mentally unchallenging gameplay. Most creators work with easier levels because they get more downloads and are easier to work with because there's less surface area to cover. Gameplay has the same effect as a windowsill. It's only a framework for everything else around it and you'll only notice if it does a really crappy job. If you can't make any good layouts and suck at gameplay, either go find a free layout in the wild or go on a Geometry Dash Discord server where a bunch of creators tend to hang out and pretend like their lives are interesting. Let's just say this won't be the only time you'll be here. Ask them nicely if they have any spare layouts because they always do. I have about 20 unused layouts, which is more than the levels I've actually published. Go around to the bunch of them and do the same thing if you can't get on your first try. If none of the hundreds of people in the server want to offer up their table scraps, then go find another server because there'll always be another server. Make sure to tell the creator how much you love their levels while you do it just to make sure they'll cough them up. Most creators are 16-year-old losers who never see any social interaction, so they'll be happy to hand you a layout. Suck their dick a bit, but not too much, otherwise they'll see you as a begging peasant. Once your 1 minute 2 second layout has arrived, mark them for later and save them to your friends list so you can exploit them in the future. You must be absolutely sure that it's over a minute. The magic section doesn't take medium length levels and neither do most level request servers. Once you obtain the layout, take it and divide it into about 10 to 15 segments. Normally having so many creators in a collab would make the level completely disjointed and look like they're all glued together. That's still true, but you're doing this to make the load as light as possible for everyone. Normally solo levels are 70 seconds long and take from 30 to 300 hours depending if the creator gives a shit. But this will make it so creators can easily spank out a part in less than a day. A 6-second part is an incredibly straightforward process. Once you have your dividers in decently natural looking spots, you need to add a name card for whoever takes it, as well as what colors and groups they shall receive. I suggest that you take how many segments you have and then divide that number by 1000, and for each part multiply by the segment that you're in, and then you've got your steps. Use those numbers for the groups and colors that the creator making the part is allowed, or alternatively count up in the 50s or 100s depending on the size of the collab. Congratulations, now you've got a layout and a collab to chase. Now that you've got your gameplay finished, change your Discord status. As long as it lets people know that you're looking for creators for a collab, you're good as gold. Bonus points if you make it big and obnoxious as fuck. It's time to make a decision. If you've ever played the features section in the last 15 centuries, you will know that two parties have overwhelming representation in the Geometry Dash House of Parliament. Those two of course being the Modern Party and the Glow Party. GD isn't a two-party system, but these are the styles of the widest and largest net of creators. Both have their pros and cons. Both have a medium level skill floor and are generally pretty versatile. Glow creators tend to be more hungry for collabs, but modern creators are generally more chill. Modern creators are more likely to prefer solo levels, but a lot of glow creators are elitist dickheads, so pick your poison. Despite modern being simpler, the good stuff is incredibly complicated, so they take about the same effort to build, so neither is more technical than the other. So, you chose your style. Good, because it's time to change your status again and return to those servers. Who you decide to have the privilege of being mooched off is probably the most important part in any collaboration, because if the level's fucking shit, it won't get rated. You must go after these specific creators. 1. Creators that have around 2 to 10 creator points. People with single digit CP counts are generally less likely to have an inflated ego, and generally less picky and more likely to join collabs. 2. People with no creator points at all that only make collab parts, or one of those weird Geometry Dash lifers that haven't released any level ever, and just gonna drop the single greatest level of all time 2 years later out of the blue. My last video covered one of those guys. These people tend to also have pretty good connections. There's actually quite a few ways to find these creators, that being looking in style specific servers, and yes, quite a few of them. I haven't joined me in them, but ask someone for names and they'll probably give you some because they use the same technique in this video. You can also look for them in the feedback section to judge their quality if they're good enough for your prestigious collective of homies. They absolutely need to be feature worthy. Star rated levels are rare and only get about 5,000 downloads at most. Knowing the people that are going to watch this video, half of you probably think that Dear Nostalgist is feature worthy, so here's a simple way to spot them. Here's a glow block design, here's a modern block design, boom. If you're on par with these, you're good to go. A lot of style specific servers have ranks that are based on how good their best block design is. Here's one for a modern server. It goes up from beginner to expert. I would estimate that anyone at the great modern rank would be more than enough to be in your prestigious level that was made for completely superficial reasons. Unlike every other level which are clones of each other for artistic reasons. When in doubt, use these images as a reference. Definitely check their levels before you ask them to be in yours. While you scout for creators to exploit, write a status page that looks a bit like this. This isn't just for you, this is also for the creators to see so everyone knows which parts are always available. When there's a spot filled or a spot that they want to choose, they can fill it in. You actually do it to make a part, by the way, because if you don't, you're what some people may call DJ Khaled. Getting people to join your collab is easier than you think depending on your approach. Think of it as a business deal. Here's how I recommend going at it. Open wide. You've only got one attempt at it, so you need to be perfect for this part. I only do solo, so I'm not great at doing this, but here's some real openers made by collab hosts. Base it off these. If you've got someone decently well known in your collab, make sure everyone can see it loud and clear. Make a song and dance of a year. Everyone knows there's nothing more exciting than hearing that Willis has been featured in a collab. The more connections a collab has, the more likely it is to get featured. Also, if you get a moderator in the collab, congratulations, you've just won the fucking lotto. Just know that this is the hardest part. The more good creators you collect, the easier it is to get more people in the collab because many people probably recognize their mates in there and they're more likely to join them. Each member of the collab will probably notify you when they start their build. Unlike something like an art commission, creators build independently with, for the most part, no outside contribution whatsoever, so you probably won't need to check up on them too frequently. Do make sure to check up on them once in a while about their progress though. Give them encouragement, you know, the host stuff. While they're working on their 6-second long parts, it's time to make yours. Since you've already placed your part near the end out of embarrassment, not too many people will see it, so you probably don't have to worry much about people judging your part. For someone with no skill, the most reliable way to decorate your part is to find a decently generic level in the featured section and just do what they're doing. Not exactly a one-to-one recreation, but pretty much. Take inspiration from multiple levels. Take a block design from the level and tweak it a bunch. You really only need one, so don't go too overboard. Make about 5 variations of the same design and copy paste it a bunch. I have a level with 2,000 downloads that did the copy paste technique for every single part and not a single person noticed. At this point, you probably shouldn't even worry about originality because the spaghetti is a whole different entity. This part is only 6 seconds long, so as long as the gameplay is really easy, you'll be fine. Nobody cares if 1/12 of the level sucks. Alternatively, you can make block designs and backgrounds that are so overused to the point that they're in the public domain. A year ago, these were good enough to get feature levels on their own because Robbo couldn't remember the level he played 15 minutes ago. Most of the time he doesn't even check this far in, so you'll be good. At this point, finished parts should slowly be trickling in. If one or multiple people drop out, and they will drop out, it shouldn't be a problem because to get this far you'd have had to get at least 10 people in, so it should be a breeze. This happens in most collabs, so don't worry too much about this. Once everyone's finished their parts, merge the levels together or get someone who isn't lazy to do it for you. Congratulations, you have your level done, but you're not completely done yet. We have to make absolutely sure that this level is good enough to get the magic section. Robbo checks the magic section every single day for levels when he rates them, and they're also almost guaranteed that your level has 1,000 downloads on their own, since they're promoted right there in the search engine. Nobody knows the requirements for sure, which roughly translates to, we know them off by heart, but we don't tell Rob because he'll probably change them. Those requirements are 1. 20,000 objects. Don't worry about this one because it'll probably be about 60 once you get the level back. 2. It's got to be a minute long, which you've probably already done. 3. You have to spend at least 6 hours inside the editor, which you have hopefully done while making your part. Lastly, 4. It's got to have an effective low detail mode, which basically translates to that a certain percentage of blocks have to be put in low detail mode, which is enabled by this box in the editor. You might as well do it the proper way by selecting the laggy details, but if you're really fucking lazy, you can just make a line of blocks spanning the entire level above the roof. Copy paste it until you've got thousands of blocks, mark them in low detail mode and you're all set. You know those dedication pages that people put at the end of the level and make them look worse? They're so people are more likely to share it when people see their name and spreads a little further. What you gotta do at the end of the level is put the names of every single mod in a custom spiffy font. You really gotta butter them up as hard as you can to get this thing rated. It's not gonna get rated on substance. Now, your level's finally finished. But you gotta think of a name. Don't name it after the song and don't name it something normal. In order to get noticed, you have to use the strategy of anti-marketing to get your name out there. You have to name it something ridiculous and eye-catching to make people more likely to play it. A jumble of numbers, for example, will attract more people than a level named after the song. Make sure it's inoffensive though, because Robert doesn't like this very much, and remember that this game is rated for 4-year-olds. What I'm saying here is gay people smell like fish fingers probably won't get you very far. It gains even more attention, but none that you can actually benefit from. Even though you would actually have to have a rod up your ass to get mad at offensive names in a general search level, just know it does happen. Now that you got your stupid title, make sure you upload it at the right time. I don't know when it was before I started making this video. I asked the GD Discord server, but they were too busy talking about how Deadlocked is homophobic. I don't know what time zones you're in, but he often rates them at 11 AM in New Zealand time, so convert the Kiwi seconds into whatever you have and upload it then. If it's rated by this point, congratulations, you've won. But statistically speaking, you probably didn't get rated, so I'll run down a few other techniques just for you guys. Wait a couple days just in case, and if you aren't seeing any results, remove the level from the servers and re-upload it again. You have to have absolutely no dignity to do this, but now you've done everything up to this point, chances are you don't have much dignity to begin with, so don't worry about it. Even do it twice if you want to reach world record levels of desperation. But if it's still unrated, then jump on Discord once more and hop on a level request server. Only go to ones with mods because they're the only ones that can send levels to Rob. Make sure you follow the requirements. Usually this is ID, difficulty, name, creators, and a YouTube video, but the rules vary. Also, never spam requests. Only request on each server once. These servers get swamped with requests, so don't pester them more than you need to. If you do, not only it won't do anything, you'll look like a massive cunt. Luckily there's a fuck ton of mod servers, so you're all set. Do that for a little while, they'll always tag your Discord account and inform you if your level was sent. Do this a half dozen or full dozen times. My levels get rated on an average of 2 cents, and many of them were rated with 0. You don't need too many, but just make sure to have a healthy portion. Look at this, every week there's even more mods for you to harass. If you followed this tutorial right by this point, you would have a rated level. It worked for this dude. He used this exact method and received a feature with it. I was even in the collab. Now, was it convoluted? But you do need to remember that feature levels are supposed to be very difficult to get. The standards are definitely not too high. It's supposed to be a treacherous task, and there being a method to make it easier at all is nothing less than a crack in the system. That achievement was created when the standards were much lower, and is probably making people think that the standards are too high. But if you follow this tutorial just right, that means that you have officially got a feature level. Congratulations! You now have the pass to unlimited sex. Make sure to rub your internet points into everyone's filthy peasant face. I wish you very well in your future creative endeavors. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have 10 cans of undrinkable, lukewarm, sugar-free Monster Energy in my cupboard I need to attend to. Toodles. By the way, if you're wondering what DANK stands for, it stands for,